Chapter 6. A gusting breath blasted my face and woke me up. It couldn't be Gus because the breath would smell like hot dogs and kitty nibbles. And he doesn't breathe with such force. I cracked open my eyes and flinched. Muffin's surly face was inches from mine.
I want breakfast!
Then go get yourself breakfast, I said, turning over.
I'm not leaving here. Here's the list,
she said, shoving it under my nose.
Go to the grocery store and get my supplies.
I snatched the paper from her waving hand and reviewed the list. You're staying here 2 days max, yet there's a month's worth of groceries on this list.
I'm planning on cooking for my husband.
I eyed her. Your fake husband.
He's my real husband until I get my inheritance.
If that's the case, you can move in with your real husband.
I'm giving him his space. I'll get into his apartment eventually.
I was confused by our conversation. I glanced at the clock that read noon. I scrambled off the couch. I have to get to the casino to work, and then I have a gig tonight.
You should find yourself a husband and let him go to work.
It would be nice not to have to worry about a paycheck, but I don't think I could sit around and not work.
That's what those hoity-toity trophy wives do.
True. But I don't think they're happy.
They at least have better maids than I do.
You have maids?
I have one maid,
she said, pointing her finger at me. If you think I'm going to be your maid, you're completely crazy.
We'll see. Right now you need to buy my groceries. In 20 minutes, your furry bowling ball is going to be the main course if I don't eat something soon.
I hurried and changed. I plucked my purse off the chair. How did it move from the table to the chair? Did you move my purse? I asked Muffin.
No,
she said, squeezing into the living room chair. It groaned in protest.
Your bowling ball is looking mighty tasty.
I dashed out the door and down to Frankie's apartment. I banged on the door. The sound of shuffling slippered feet came to the door. He opened the door with a yawn that sucked in most of the air in Vegas. His red silk robe draped around him, and his hair was tucked into a net.
This better be important. I fell asleep only a few hours ago.
I have to borrow your car.
Nuh-uh. No one borrows Lucille.
Your wife is making me buy her groceries. I'm not taking a taxi.
Tell her to buy her own groceries.
You tell her to buy her own groceries. Right now she's eyeing Gus as breakfast. I don't want to become lunch.
You're being dramatic.
Frankie, you better help me out or she's coming to live with you today.
Don't get your cotton granny panties in a bind. I'll drive you there. But you have to do the shopping.
Deal. He swiped his keys from the side table and locked the door behind us. Don't you want to change?
No, I'm going back to bed after this.
It's already noon.
Girl, you need to remember you're in Vegas, not Idaho or wherever the hell you're from. Noon is like 6 in the morning Vegas time.
I hauled grocery bags to my apartment. It was only the first trip, and there were several more to go. I opened the door to the apartment and stumbled in from the wait.
Nadia!
I heard my name followed by a squeal. I directed my attention to the location of the squeal. Let him go, I groaned. Muffin released Sergio from an optimal noogie hold. He rubbed his throat and scurried to me for cover. What's going on? I asked.
I caught this little pipsqueak spying,
Muffin said.
I wasn't spying. I was coming to visit my poker goddess. I didn't want to wake her, so I peeked in the window.
I'm 3 floors up. That's creepy, I said.
You have a ladder around back, which made it easy. I didn't want to disturb you.
I heard a knock on the door. It was still open from when I came in with the groceries. My heart tap-danced a few beats while I took in the handsome form standing in the doorframe.
Am I interrupting?
Grayson asked. Nothing important, I said with a cool, even tone, covering the fact I wanted to pounce on him and give him a million kisses.
Hey, my breakfast is important,
Muffin said. Go ahead and make yourself breakfast. I have to haul up the rest of the groceries.
Do you need help?
Grayson asked. I have 2 more trips worth of groceries in Frankie's car. Why are you here?
Are you unhappy to see me?
Grayson feigned a wounded expression. I couldn't help but smile. No, just curious since you said you were going to be busy.
I've been very busy, and I'm not even close to finishing. Didn't you get your phone? I tried calling. I have to talk to you about something. But alone.
Is that code for boom chicka wah wah?
Muffin asked.
'Cause you're not doing the nasty here.
It's not code for sex, I barked at Muffin. Is it? I turned to Grayson. Grayson raised his eyebrow.
No.
Bummer. I didn't receive a phone, and I'm not alone right now. But I wanted to be. Desperately.
I can see that. Why don't I give you a hand, and then we can talk?
Yeah, okay.
I don't care who is helping who. I want my damn breakfast.
I glared at Muffin, who was surly enough to roast me for breakfast. Sergio raced to the door.
I shall return to you my goddess.
He called as he made his escape.
Who was that?
Grayson asked. I seem to have picked up a stray in Panama.
You have a knack for attracting interesting people.
Yes, I do, I said, as I watched Muffin forage through the grocery bags, sniffing questionable items. Grayson called Remy to bring up the remaining bags from Frankie's car. He then dug out a pan and pried the eggs out of Muffin's hands. By the time Grayson was beating the eggs, Remy was upstairs with the remaining grocery bags. What would have taken me 2 or 3 trips up and down the stairs only took him 1.
Where do you want these?
He asked. Can you set them on the counter? I'll put them away. Remy deposited the bags and was about to leave when Muffin saddled up next to him.
You're a fine piece of meat,
she said with a detectable bat of her eyelashes and a gleam in her eyes that said, steak dinner. He stared at her with a blank expression. I considered Remy to be a tall, beefy guy, but standing next to Muffin he seemed small and docile, like Sergio. Remy eyed her, knowing she was the one person who could pin him down and take him like a fair maiden.
I'll be in the limo.
Remy said. You can't go anywhere without Grayson. You may as well stay and keep Muffin company while Grayson cooks her omelet, I said. Remy's jaw muscle twitched.
I thought I liked you.
You'll like me again tomorrow. Go sit in the living room and play nice. Muffin curled her hand around Remy's arm and dragged him to the living room. I didn't think it was possible to drag Remy anywhere. I returned to the kitchen to put away the groceries.
Who's that?
Grayson asked. She calls herself Muffin.
Is she a relative?
I punched him on the arm. No, she's not a relative. Are you saying we have any resemblance?
Maybe not physically, but you do have some of her hostilities.
He said with a grin.
I'm sure you'd fight her for the last piece of chocolate cake.
I smiled at his playful jab. Why are you here?
Someone is back in town. I have a hunch he's going to cause problems. I may need your help.
Who? Dagor? I asked, praying it wasn't him.
No, not him.
Grayson said. His eyes expressed concern.
You haven't seen him, have you?
He was on the airplane to Panama. He saw me and said, You're dead. I think I might have heard him outside of my hotel. I know he's around.
Did you call the police?
No, too much was going on. Then I lost the tournament and spent 4 days flying home.
You should have called me.
I'd rather not talk about it. Tell me who you think is back.
The omelet is done, and I think Remy needs a break. Let's feed Muffin and Gus and go somewhere.
Yeah, sure. But I have to work and I have a gig tonight,
I'll make sure I don't keep you too long.
he said, swooping down for a small kiss.
I've wanted to kiss you for weeks, but you looked scary the other night.
My fingers touched my lips to stop the erupting tingles.
Is my omelet done yet?
Muffin shouted from the living room.
I can't entertain a man on an empty stomach.
Let's go.
Grayson said. He slid the omelet on a plate and deposited it onto the kitchen table. I tossed a hot dog in Gus's bowl with some low-cal nibbles. Remy scrambled from the couch and flew out the door.
I'll see you later, my tasty love pastry.
Muffin called after him. Grayson and I followed Remy. Where are we going?
Home? For now?
Remy drove to Grayson's sprawling 3-story house. Grayson didn't use the house as his regular residence. Instead, he lived in the casino penthouse so he could work around the clock. Why didn't we go to a cafe or somewhere closer? I asked. The last time I was here, we spent an amazing night together. I still heat uncontrollably remembering it. You're not thinking of coercing me to have sex with you, are you? I asked. You can't say you're rid of me for 6 months and then pick me up for a quickie before you head back to work.
I'm not here for a quickie, but I wouldn't say no if you wanted to,
He said. The corners of his steel-gray eyes mischievously crinkled.
We're here to talk briefly, then we can ride back to the casino together.
Why not just talk on the way to the casino?
Last time there was a bug in the limo. I'd rather go somewhere I think is safe from ears and bugs.
Remy opened the door. I slid out, and Grayson followed. We trekked into the house and into the great room, where I plopped down on an overstuffed chair.
You can sit by me, I don't bite.
Grayson said, taking a seat on the empty couch. Remy shook his head and sat in a chair opposite of me. I feel like we've done this before, but we're missing David. When I said David's name, it dawned on me who Grayson might think reappeared. It's David, isn't it?
I think so.
What's the big deal? Why do you care if he returns? Wasn't that the hope? For him to return to Maya? David and Maya married shortly before David mysteriously disappeared 2 years ago. No one knew if he was dead or alive. It's only been recently that David reappeared to help Grayson catch the culprit behind the counterfeiting scheme. David continued to keep a low profile since he wasn't finished with his original assignment, which was unknown to us. Maya thinks David is still missing since we weren't allowed to include her on the details for her own protection.
I think something happened at the Panama tournament.
Grayson said.
Phone calls have been streaming in, asking where David is. They're all foreign phone numbers and no one gives their names.
Nothing happened as far as I know. Caleb may know more since he won the tournament.
I'd rather not involve Caleb. I don't know what the problem is. I just know there's something going on.
How can I help? I asked.
Keep an eye out for David. He might try to see you since you're the easiest to contact.
That's easy enough. He has no problem finding me.
Nadia, I have to warn you, though I don't know how.
Warn me about what? Grayson looked at Remy for help. Remy used to work with David before he disappeared. After the disappearance, Remy decided to work for Grayson in case he needed protection from whatever influenced David's departure. Remy shrugged.
His mission comes first. We don't know what assignment he has or whether it's legal. We hope it is. But David has his own ideas about where the line falls. Be cautious if he contacts you. Don't give him information and don't help him. In fact, you should probably call the police.
Are you serious? Grayson nodded his head. I can't believe you're telling me your brother's involved with something illegal when he came out of hiding to help you.
People change.
Grayson said.
David's changed before. He can change again. I'm very thankful he helped me when I needed it. But until I know what he's working on and why foreign people are searching for him, I don't want you or anyone else to trust him. At least for now.
I took my seat at a poker table, struggling to grasp what I'd heard. I didn't want to worry about whether to trust David. When he was around, he treated me like a little sister. He was protective and kind, yet he teased me too. I couldn't imagine him working on something that would place his family or me in harm's way. However, David is skilled at disappearing and climbing out of windows. He even blew up Dagor's properties in a fiery explosion. I guess having those types of skills isn't something the average person has. I'm sure they came with years of training and assignments. Grayson said David changed before. I didn't know what that meant. I should have asked him for more information. I mean, does he go through crazy changes like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Because then I wouldn't want to know. That type of information could give me nightmares for a month.
Welcome back, kid.
I peeked up to see Roy and smiled. I'd adopted Roy as my Las Vegas father. He's about 30 years older than I am and is old school Vegas, complete with a gold-plated pinky ring and a hubcap-sized belt buckle. I met him when I first moved to Las Vegas. He showed me the ropes and helped me out of a few scrapes. He quickly became my friend and poker ally. Most of the time I like to play against him in a round. He points out my flaws and teaches me how to improve. But sometimes he takes me to the cleaners and I limp away from his beating. He bought me a stand-up punching bag as a Christmas present so I could work out my poker table aggression. I never use it except to hang my laundry. It wasn't until David reappeared and gave me a quick lesson that I came to enjoy it. However, I still think it functions better as a clothes rack. Are you joining me today? I asked.
For a little while. I figured I could harass you a bit, but then I have to go to the store for Gloria.
He bought in and was dealt into a hand.
Why do women run so many errands? What's so important that there are so many errands? Men have one errand: buy beer. Women have 50, and it's a continuous cycle. Every time I see the light at the end of the tunnel, it starts all over again.
His thick eyebrows pinched together. Gloria was Roy's fifth and current wife. She was only in her mid-30s but married Roy despite the age gap. That's because women have to take care of men like they're toddlers. All they ask for is a little help.
We don't ask them to take care of us. We're happy with beer and TV.
Did you tell that to Gloria?
If I told Gloria, she'd make my life miserable out of spite. Let's play so I can cheer up.
You can give me your poker psychobabble today. I know how much you enjoy it.
It's not psychobabble. It's mastering the art of poker psychology. There are books and studies written on it.
Theories are all fine and dandy, but how do I know if someone's trying to mess with my head and plays erratically to screw me up? I asked as I threw a couple of chips into the pot.
That's why you have to master the art.
Roy threw a couple of chips into the pot as well. Have you mastered it yet?
No, I still have a long way to go. Knowing that keeps me focused.
I already know I haven't mastered it. That means I'm on track, right?
It means you know you're an average poker player.
I'm better than average.
Depends on who you're playing against. Your style is too tight and you're sloppy when you play too long.
I gritted my teeth and rubbed the back of my neck. Irritation forced my neck rigid and tight. I toyed with my chips to keep from strangling Roy. His psychobabble always dug its way under my skin. I thought I was in a good enough mood to let it roll off my shoulders. I was wrong.
See? Now I have you mad and on tilt. I bet you don't know how many chips you threw into the pot or the mathematical odds of your chances of winning.
I opened my mouth, but I couldn't argue. He had wound me up and was watching me spin. I wasn't focused on the hand in front of me. Roy turned over his cards to reveal a winning hand. The dealer pushed the chips over to him.
And that is why you lose, young grasshopper. By the way, what's a Nadia revival party?